Round 100, one of the most elusive milestones in BO6 zombies, an achievement achieved by only the most hardcore players. Well, today I have some tips, tricks, and strategies that I used to achieve my very first round 100 in round-based zombies history. Let's go. Okay, grab a drink, kick back in your recliner. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get our obligations out of the way here real quick, and let's get started. Messy Modding is a safe and legitimate gaming service company that supplies services to not just Call of Duty, but for over a dozen other games. If you're looking for help with the Dark Matter or Nebula grind, bot lobbies, and more, go to check out Messy Modding using the link in the description down below, and let them do all of the hard work for you. Use my code COOL to save 5%. Back to the video. Okay, first, let's start off with the weapon that we're going to be running, and this might come as a surprise to a lot of you, but we are running the GPR91. I'm going to go ahead and throw the build up on screen here for you. Now, if you haven't been watching the videos here lately or catching me out on the live streams, then you don't know that I've been testing just about every single weapon in the game. I'm working on testing every single weapon in the game, getting all the damage values and everything calculated, and this is one of the best weapons in the game against armored zombies, so I decided to go ahead and take this along for our round 100 run. As far as gobblegums are concerned, I'm bringing in two different packs here. I have my setup pack, which is going to include a hidden power. I did have some of these, and this is not necessary, but this is going to save you 7,500 salvage if you use the hidden power here to start the runoff, and that is 3 score streaks that are going to help you later. And I also have a separate pack there, the round 100 game that you see up on screen there, and those are the gobblegums that I'm going to be running after we are set up and ready to go. Okay, and then all of the augments that we're going to be running here for all of the perks, and we are going to be running cryo freeze as our alternate ammo type. Once you get into the higher rounds, it activates on almost every single zombie that you shoot, and you get a pretty significant damage boost when you're running cryo freeze. So don't sleep on cryo freeze, but there you go. And there is all the augments. If you want to copy those, you can go ahead and copy those. Now, all in all, this run took me about 5.5 hours to complete, and of course I'm not going to show you the full 5.5 hours of gameplay here. I'm going to cut this down into roughly like 20 to 30 minutes more than likely. I don't know exactly how long this video is going to be, but I'm going to run you through all of the most basic things that I used in order to get myself to round 100. And I know it sounds very intimidating, and this, of course, is not my very first attempt at going to round 100. This is actually my 4th viable attempt at getting the round 100 calling card. So I have learned some things along the way, and I can't wait to share those. And this is not going to be the same strategies that you see from a lot of the other content creators out there, like the bigger channels that are, you know, just parked in one spot. And I find that gameplay to be extremely boring. So I had to find my own strategies, doing different things, and actually moving around the map in order to accomplish this round 100. Because, you know, just sitting down by the bowling alley and not opening that and doing the same thing over and over and over again is just incredibly monotonous and incredibly boring to me, and I didn't want to do it. So the very first thing you're going to want to do, just get set up in the game. So, you know, if you bring in a hidden power, great, you've already got that. You're going to work on getting your primary weapon up to legendary and triple packed as quickly as you possibly can. You're going to want to get the bank opened here very early in the match, because you're going to be wanting to grab as many keys as you possibly can, so you can constantly be hitting that bank and try to get yourself some free perks and some other free things to help you get set up along the way. And you are going to want to build the jet gun here. So the very first mangler that you get in the map, make sure that you are shooting his arm cannon off. That way he drops you that cannon so that you can use that in the steps in order to build the jet gun here for you, because that is going to be crucial to some of the strategies that we're going to be using. Is it 100% necessary? Absolutely not. You could do this without using a jet gun. You could do this with just guns. It is just infinitely harder. And if you're struggling to get the round 100 as is, you're definitely going to want to get the jet gun, because you're probably not going to be able to do it with just your bullet weapon. So go ahead and take out Dennis Riffle and grab that shed key, grab the handbrake from the shed, grab the water nozzle, blast open the radio house and grab the electrical wires, turn on the water valve, grab the water pressure gauge, head on over to the hotel and craft your jet gun. And then with a little bit of time here, you suddenly have enough essence that you can go ahead and triple pack your gun. You make it legendary rarity. Now, some of the things that I would say in the early game, now we're only on round 22 here, and I already have 4 perks purchased. I have a 3-plate vest. So these are some of the things that I would recommend early in the game. Try to upgrade your armor as soon as possible. Maybe grab a perk or 2. Juggernog would be my very first perk that I go ahead and purchase. You don't want to end up taking a silly down very early in the game, because you might need those downs as the game goes on. You can only craft 3 self revives for the entire game. And of course, you only get 3 quick revives, and the way that the quick revive is bugged right now, you're going to end up getting bugged out of at least 1 or 2 of those quick revives when you really didn't even need to use them. So you're going to want to make sure that you stay alive in the early game and don't take any silly downs. And honestly, if you do take a silly down somewhere in the first 15 rounds, maybe just start all over again. And because you might want that later on down the road. I think I ended up taking 2 downs during my round 100 run here. So it really isn't too bad. And if you use the strategies that we're going to talk about here, you can definitely get through it. I have all the faith in the world in you. You just need to have that faith in yourself. If I can do it, you can do it. And another big thing I recommend here in the first 30 rounds here is do all of the SAM trials that you can possibly do. These things can give you a ton of salvage, and all of this salvage is going to come into play later. You need as much salvage as possible. You don't need to be wasting your salvage on anything silly in the game. Just make sure you're saving it as much as you can, which is why I recommend, if you really want to, bring in that hidden power if you have one, simply because you know that you can get the blue tool for free here on round 10 on Liberty Falls. So you would only have to buy the epic and the legendary tool, but that's 7,500 salvage, and that is 3 score streaks, and that could be the difference of making it through a round and not making it through a round if you end up running out of salvage. Now, with the strategy that I'm showing you, we are going to be pretty caught up on salvage. Like, you're not really going to get behind on salvage, so you're going to be able to do this even longer, well beyond round 100. So it is possible and definitely not necessary for you to have that hidden power. I'm just saying it will help in the early going, but these SAM trials are a great way to get a ton of extra salvage. And of course, once your primary weapon is legendary and triple pack-a-punch, you then need to start focusing in on the jet gun. Make sure you get that to a triple pack-a-punch, and keep an eye out through the SAM trials and through the banks, through the keys. You want to find some ether tools for your knife, for your melee weapon. You're going to want to make sure you upgrade this as well, because if push comes to shove later in a round, you could be on round 80 and you can like 5 melee a mangler if you have your knife all leveled up and you have the melee macchiato on. So you're going to want to level up your knife as well. Make sure everything is legendary triple pack-a-punch. That's going to be the key goal. And then just, that gets you through the first 30 rounds. The first 30 rounds, that's the easy part. It is from round 31 forward is when everything is going to start getting difficult. Specifically on round 31, I got lucky here, used a temporal gift and got an insta-kill here, and I got 60 seconds worth of insta-kill, and that blasted me all the way through level 31. But there's a massive difficulty increase right exactly on level 31. Everything just starts to ramp up, and it ramps up very, very quickly from here. And you need to absolutely make sure that you are picking up every single piece of salvage that falls down from the zombies that you're killing. If you need to be doing this the entire game from round 1 all the way through, and make sure every round that, as long as you got a key, make sure you hit up the bank. You can get some salvage from this. You can get score streaks. You can get ether wrenches for maybe your knife, things like that. So make sure you are hitting the bank up as often as you can. It doesn't stay open the way it used to, so now every time you go in, they're all going to be locked again, so you might as well just hit it up every single round as long as you have a key. And then from rounds like 31 to around round 40, you're just going to find wherever you are most comfortable at on the map to train zombies up and kill your hordes. You want to be comfortable. You can still kill zombies pretty decently at this stage, so it's not necessary to really start using all of your score streaks and everything right now. You are looking to build up as much salvage as you possibly can. Go ahead and start utilizing your jet gun a little bit. That is perfectly fine, but just work wherever you are the most comfortable on the map, whether that is the spawn area, whether that's where we're at right here, whether you like to get hardcore and trap yourself in the bowling alley. Bank top roof gets a little bit difficult at this stage. There's a lot of zombies and they kind of spawn everywhere, so it's kind of hard to train them up there, but just find your favorite spot. As you can see here, we are on round 37, and this GPR is still ripping and tearing through the zombies. It does very, very well against the manglers. It does very good against armored zombies. It's got a very high damage output when it comes to armor. It's middle of the pack when it comes to actual zombie time to kill once you are actually hitting them, but it does shreds the armor off very, very quickly and lets you, get to killing the zombie a little bit faster. But yeah, very middle of the pack when it comes to its critical shot DPS, but excellent against armor. And over the course of of the game, I have learned some critical lessons here with this jet gun. You kind of want to make sure that there's nothing that can get at your back when you're using this gun, or really kind of from the side. You're only going to kill the zombies that are pretty much directly in front of you, so even trapping yourself in a corner is not a bad idea when you're going to use the jet gun, as long as you're going to have enough time to get out of that corner. Of course, you don't want 100 zombies in front of you because you might run out of jet gun ammo there, but you want to make sure you're not necessarily using it in the wide open, as it could be very difficult and you get yourself trapped and get yourself killed. I've done it, so just be careful when you're using the jet gun, and you want to make sure you're keeping the zombies right in front of you. An ether shroud is your absolute best friend. You want to always make sure that you have at least one ether shroud charge ready to go, so keep an eye on your ether shroud all the time, because that is your get out of jail free card. And I do run the augment that allows me to have 2 charges of my ether shroud all of the time. Okay, a couple of things when it comes to bug rounds. I went ahead and did all of my vermin rounds here in the match, and I didn't skip any of them. However, there is a gentleman's agreement in the zombies community as a whole. All of the people that were trying to race to round 999, everybody had come to an agreement that it is okay to save quit during the vermin rounds. Honestly, I use them as an excuse to get a little bit of nicotine during some of these longer runs. However, if you wanted to skip the vermin rounds, as they can get a little bit long later in the game, it is a gentleman's agreement by, everybody involved that you can go ahead, save quit, and come on back in, and you got a 1 in 5 chance of it not being a vermin round. Now, I did record the first 60 rounds of this live on stream, and I do stream here on YouTube as well as Twitch, so if you're not also following me on Twitch, well, what are you doing? Go ahead, there's a link in the description. Go ahead and follow me over there, and if you appreciate and enjoy this content, please make sure you are liking the video, smashing that like button, leaving me comments down below. I really do appreciate it. It helps everything promote on the channel. So I do thank each and every one of you that do show me that love and support all of the time. You guys are absolutely phenomenal, and I couldn't do this without any of you. And honestly, I wouldn't, because then I'd just be doing it for myself, and that would be weird. But yeah, and if you want to subscribe to the channel, there's always awesome content like this for you to see. So make sure you do that as well, if you want to. No pressure. Okay, all this shameless self-promotion stuff aside, so once you get to round 40 here, if you start finding some extra score streaks and stuff on the ground, feel free to go ahead and use them. You're going to be killing a lot of manglers here right now, and they're going to be dropping you score streaks, so go ahead and use them and just burn your way through some easy rounds here. You're still relatively early in the game, but you're only about 15 rounds away from maximum zombie health, so you're getting pretty close, you're getting pretty deep, and the rounds start to take a lot longer. The zombies are a lot stronger at this point, so it's perfectly okay that if you have the extra streaks, especially if you have a streak on hand and another one drop from another mangler, just go ahead and use the one that you got, get through the round, and then pick up the one that was there, because otherwise it's just going to go to waste, and just get yourself through a round safely. And then some overall rules that I want to say here is always make sure you have a score streak on hand. Always, always, always. Now, I would always recommend checking the bank first if you have a key. See if you can get a free one. If there's a mangler that you can easily kill on the map, go ahead and kill them. Make sure they don't drop anything first. But always have yourself a chopper gunner or a mutant injection or even a hand cannon if you wanted to use a little bit of a different strategy that I'm not really going to cover in this video. But you can one-shot manglers to their cannon if you're using the hand cannon. But that gets a little bit difficult at the higher rounds, because then you're pretty much relying on your gun for everything. And also start using that jet gun to suck up some hordes that are nice and tightly compacted that you've made. That'll help you get out of that as well. So start utilizing some of these strategies, because you're going to need these for these later rounds here once you hit about round 50 or so. And also, armor plates during this stage start to become a lot more scarce at times, at least it seems to me anyway. So make sure that you always have armor on hand, and if you don't, you're hitting up that crafting table and making sure that you have armor, because that's pretty much the only thing that's going to keep you alive. Because if you don't have armor and you're taking all of that damage from the zombies, well, you're only a couple swipes away from death. So make sure that you always have armor on hand, and if you don't, make sure you're hitting that craft. It's only 50 salvage, so go ahead and make sure you're hitting it and make sure you got that armor. Now, starting at around round 46 is where I'm going to start utilizing my score streaks a whole lot more often, especially on the rounds where there are abominations, as these become a whole lot more tanky and a whole lot more difficult to kill. So I start utilizing these more often and using them to help take out the abominations, because they can really throw a hiccup into your plans here. And one thing that I like to do this stage of the game is I will use, you know, my mutant injection, but as you see here, I'm not killing the manglers. I use it to kill all of the zombies, and I'll wait until I get out, and look how unlucky I am to get a second abomination that spawned here on round 46 for me, which does happen from time to time. Sometimes you will get 2 abominations that spawn, but I will use that mutant injection to kill off the zombies in the round and leave myself the manglers so that I can finish them with my gun, so I have a better chance of them dropping another score streak for me that I can use for absolutely free without having to craft it with salvage. Now, I did want to point out some gameplay here, specifically at round 47, and the reason I wanted to point this out is because I still feel relatively comfortable like fighting the zombies with just my gun for the most part. As you can see, like, we're able to take out the armored zombies, we're able to take out the zombies okay, but the zombie health is right around 36,000. Actually, it's just under 37,000 at this stage of the game at level 47, and of course it does go up to 50,000 by the time you get to round 55 here. But however, one thing I wanted to talk about is I think that this is a great place right here for the zombie health cap. Even with the mangler spam and everything in here, this is a great spot where your weapon is still viable, the game is still difficult. Now, of course, the zombies can progress as you get later and later rounds. The zombies will deal more and more and more damage to you. They all become super sprinters at some point, and that's perfectly fine. Keep all of that things. That will add the level of difficulty to the game, maybe make the rounds a little bit longer, maybe make a few more zombies. But if your gun stays to a viable point, which you kind of feel like you are viable right around this stage here, then, you know, I think that that is a good place for the game to find a little bit of balance. But I just kind of wanted to point that out because I'm still comfortable at this point trying to fight off most of the zombies all of the time with just my weapon, which is not going to be the case once we get here in just what, maybe 10 more rounds or so. Is not going to be the case anymore. And what an excellent use of Ether Shroud that was right there. Get yourself out of those. Don't be afraid. Make sure you're using those. Make sure you're using your equipment as well. If you got some Casimirs, find them on the ground. Monkey bombs, make sure you are using them. Get yourself out of the situations before you end up getting downed. Now, once you get to around about round 55, round 60, this is where you want to start talking about your strategy that's going to get you through every single round from this point forward. You're going to need to use a combination of everything. You're going to need to use your score streaks. You're going to need to use these ether traps that are on the map. And I don't see a lot of people using these very often, but these are incredibly powerful at taking out zombies, and they still drop equal amounts of salvage as well when you're doing this. They actually drop a ton of salvage when you're using these ether traps, so make sure that you are utilizing them to take out zombies just as much. As you can see, our gun is still mildly effective on the zombies, but not all that much. Make sure you're using your jet gun, especially in situations like this. You got a second here, go ahead and use it, but get out of dodge really fast. Don't stay in one spot for very long whatsoever. We got another trap right over here that we can fire up. This one is actually my favorite because there are a number of them here, and you can drain the zombies all around these things and have them just follow you right into the traps, and that's going to deal with the majority of the zombies while you are then able to focus on the manglers. Now, all of the zombies here are in full health, and you see the mangler spam is going crazy right now, but we're keeping it under control because we have this trap going. It is killing off most all of the zombies here for us, and we're just kind of running around and luring them right into our trap. That's going to weaken all the manglers and everything for you, and you can go ahead and take them out, and that's going to, of course, cause them to drop more and more score streaks. But look how much weaker these manglers are right now because they were trapped in my traps there for just a little bit, which is cool. The abomination, you always want to take them out as early as you can there because they really are a real pain in the ass. But you can see this GPR still absolutely shreds these manglers and armored zombies even in the late rounds. We are max health right now, and this gun will still rip and tear very, very well here. But then we'll go through, make sure you're picking up all of the salvage. That is key. Pick up every single piece of salvage that you can find. And if you don't have a score streak at this point and you're in between rounds, well, you need to be hitting the bank. If you have a key, see if you can get one for free. And if you can't, then you need to be going to the crafting table to craft one if the manglers did not drop you one. Always, always, always make sure you you have a score streak on hand. And if you don't, you simply follow the steps of going to the bank with your key. So always make sure you have a key as well. That way you can go to the bank. And then if you don't get one for free from the bank, assuming you didn't get one from free from a fallen mangler, then, well, you go craft yourself one. But only if you cannot get one for free do you craft one for yourself. And as long as you are following these strategies, you're going to get enough free ones here and there. And as long as you also stay moving in these ether traps here, you're not going to die. You're not going to die. Keep an eye on your health at all times. If your health is getting low, make sure you are hitting ether shroud and getting the hell out of there. But always be looking down to the bottom left there and checking that health bar. But as I was saying there, as long as you are picking up all of the salvage that gets dropped along the map, and use these traps, because these traps do drop a lot of salvage, and it takes a long time to kill zombies at this stage of the game, so you're not going to do all of the fighting with just your weapon. And then if you start to lose control like we kind of were here, the traps weren't really cutting it, well, now it's time to go ahead and use that streak that you had banked up. And you can save the manglers. If you want to save the manglers, save the manglers. It depends on my salvage situation, whether I decide to save the manglers or not. If I'm okay on salvage, then I don't. But keep an eye on that salvage too. You want to see that salvage slowly growing over time. It'll be a slow growth at this stage, but it should grow slowly. But I also know that I had that chopper gunner here ready and waiting, so that makes these decisions a lot easier. But again, get back down there. Make sure you're picking up every single piece of that salvage. Now, another strategy that you can use is the bank rooftop with the jet gun strategy here on the zip line. So basically, you just put yourself into the zip line here. You're going to want to crouch down, and you're going to just tap fire. Just tap, untap, tap, untap. Just do a little tap fire on your jet gun. This takes a little bit of working with to get used to it, but if you're tap firing, it's not going to go down all that quick. And if you do this absolutely perfectly, then you'll pretty much have unlimited ammo with the jet gun. But that's a little bit more on the difficult side, but it's perfectly fine to do it this way. As you can see, we're just very slowly going down. You're able to keep the manglers kind of frozen in place there. And then once things start to get a little, too much for you and you are running out of ammo, just hop on your zip line and get on out of there. Get on over to the spawn roof, and then typically most of the time I'll try to kill one zombie, or not zombie, but mangler rather. Kill one mangler, maybe two if I can real quick, and then I'm going to zip right on back over to the bank roof, and I'm going to just repeat the exact same strategy that I was just doing. Now, I do not do this every single round. To me, this is incredibly boring. It's a good way to get through a round. You can definitely do it, and you could do this every single round. If this is what you wanted to do round in and round out, then this is definitely a strategy that you could use. But that, again, that is not me. I don't like to do this. I do this maybe once every 5 rounds. I'm kind of do like multiple different strategies that get me through each round, although they are pretty much the same, so those also can become monotonous, but at least it's monotony over a few different strategies rather than just one singular strategy. And sometimes your game just crashes on round 74. I was so incredibly relieved to see that it actually did create a saved file for us, so we were able to get right back into the action. All right, I want to see who's still watching the video right now, so comment 74 down in the comments. Let me know that you're still here and you're still watching. If you do decide to do the vermin rounds, this is where I do them. They take around 7 to 10 minutes, I think, at this point, around late 80. It might not have actually been that long, but I mean, it feels like an eternity. But I like to just crouch right here next to Melee Macchiato, and they basically just come out of the church and occasionally from a little bit further away to the right, and sometimes from the cemetery. But it's nice and easy just sitting here. So if you want to do them, this is a good spot. Okay, so let me take you through round 81 here. So the round is just starting here. So I'm going to start this particular one on the bank rooftop here, and I'm going to use the tap fire jet gun strategy in combination with a mutant injection. I'm going to start off with a mutant injection because the rounds are so long at this point that one mutant injection will not clear an entire round. You will need 2 of them if you want to clear an entire round, or you're going to have to use it in combination with other strategies. So we'll start off with the mutant injection. We're just going to just swipe away away as many zombies as we possibly can, kill as many of the manglers as we can, because even more are going to spawn. And then once our mutant injection is gone, we're going to head right on over here to the zip line with our jet gun, and we're going to do our pulsing jet gun strategy here, and we're going to start finishing off the next horde of zombies here that are coming at us. So you want to make sure that you're just tap firing. You don't want to just suck all of the time. Don't just keep sucking. You'll suck them all raw, and you don't want to do that. You'll run out of ammo. So yeah, just do a little tap fire. The zombie spawns are coming a little bit slow right now. We got a whole lot of them with our mangler injection, but this is pretty much exactly how you want to do it here. Just tap fire, just a little tap fire action. But it looks like we got one little zombie left here, so that is perfect. I've actually been thinking about maybe going to the mystery box and trying a different weapon out, which I think I'm going to go ahead and do at this point of the video. And yes, I am doing. So I think I end up getting a PU-21 out of here. And not because this gun wasn't performing, I just wanted to see how some other guns might perform at this level. But just let me say right now, I ultimately regret getting rid of my GPR. The gun was doing absolutely phenomenal, and I was really enjoying using it, and I should have never got it in my head that when I wanted to try any other weapons whatsoever. But this also brings me to another little thing that I wanted to talk about, because this might happen to you. Now, at this stage on round 81, I had that one zombie left, and I went to the mystery box. I got this PU-21. I went and I triple packed it, all those things. I'm going to show you all that in the video here. However, my one zombie never spawned back in. I sat there for several minutes waiting on him to come back in once I got all of this done, and I couldn't do it. The way I fixed it was I went ahead and I went bowling. I just went around, shot all the bowling shoes, went bowling. That fixed it. My zombie spawned back in, and I was able to move on to round 82 from there. And then one of my favorite ways to get through rounds is using nothing but the traps in the map. So usually when I do this, I will start off with the ether trap in the spawn area. And then I'll then come on over here to the etherella trap. So don't forget about this one in the comic book store. I would just lay down, because this laser can damage you. So maybe just lay down inside of here and keep yourself safe underneath the counters while you're using this. But also make sure that you have an ether shroud available to you in order to get out of the comic book store, because if this trap ends and there's still some zombies around and you don't have an ether shroud, well, you're gonna die, because this room is way too small. Now, I timed that one perfectly, but went ahead and get out of there. Now, I do have the ASG shotgun at this point, because after numerous spins of the mystery box, I was not able to get myself the GPR again, and it's not a wall weapon here, so I ended up just buying the ASG. But I really do wish I would have stuck with the GPR for the entire duration of this game. The testing Cool Whip got a little bit in my own head here, but you can see how well these traps work. And if you each round, without even using a score streak, you can just go from trap to trap to trap. And I do think you can only use them once per round. I think they're going to stay on cooldown after you use them once. But usually using all three traps is pretty much enough to get you through most of an entire round, to where then you can go ahead and, probably finish them off with your gun, or use a score streak if you absolutely have to, if you're not feeling comfortable from that point. But you can see here, 2 traps, and we've gotten this round pretty much entirely done without really any danger to us whatsoever. We were not really in any danger at all. So then from that point, we get the round done, and it's just rinse and repeat. We still have a score streak, so we don't need to worry about it this game. But if we did not have a score streak, we would check the manglers. Did the manglers drop a score streak? If the answer is no, then go to the bank with your key. See if you can get a free score streak. If you do not get a free score streak, go to the crafting table and craft yourself a score streak. Also, between every single round, make sure that you are heading to that crafting table and making sure you are absolutely full on armor plates if you are not able to pick up enough armor. And ultimately, that's it. Feel free to move around the map and find a strategy that works best for you. I really enjoyed using a strategy with these traps. Like even here, I got some monkey bombs. I'll just chuck it right into the trap, and they're all gonna run in there. It's not as maybe as much fun as just using your gun is all of the time. However, it can still be fun, and you can make it fun. You can find ways to make it fun. It is still extremely difficult. No matter how easy it might look in this video, it is still extremely hard. The zombies are very fast, they hit very hard, and you can die very easily and very quickly with just a simple mistake. So like I said, make sure you don't take any stupid deaths early in the game. That way you have all of your self revives. I did go down a couple of times during this. I went down twice. So, it happens. It's going to happen. you probably won't have a flawless run. If you do have a flawless run, hey, that is freaking amazing. That is awesome for you. But you can take these strategies that I used, or you can go in, develop your own strategies. But I promise you 110%, if I can do it, you can do it. Now, I'm going to try to put this entire video completely unedited, no commentary, up on YouTube for all the channel members to see. If you want to watch the entire thing, if you're a member of the channel, then I will get all of that uploaded and you can see the entire run in its entirety and really try to fine tune and pick your way through the strategies. But if you enjoyed the video, please make sure you smash that like button. I appreciate you all watching. I'll see you in the next one. My name is Cole Whip, and I'm out.